Now, this isn't news, obviously, but as we all know, Toyota is late and has been heavily criticized for that, and that is being late to the EV game. Their solution some years ago was to have a little chat with Subaru and work something out, build a platform, electric motors, some batteries, you know, and then take this one product and split it into 3 models over 3 brands. Normally, typically, almost always, badge engineering works quite well. If you're doing Chevy and GMC, or, well, back in the day, Ford and Mercury or something like that, or even Ford and Lincoln, but, you know, it works fine. But when you're putting that big L on the front of the grille, minimally expectations have to be met, if not, and more than likely have to be exceeded. And that posed a serious challenge, I believe, to Lexus and Toyota engineers when they finalized the RZ450e. Because, okay, it's no secret, like I just said, it is a Solterra / BZ4X RZ450e, and they're all more or less the same vehicle. But this Lexus product had to justify its existence with a lot more of everything. The thing that's happened is that Toyota has managed to deliver a lot more of everything, but there was a great cost involved, and it is a very unfortunate cost involved. Very much like the truck backing up about 150 meters away, and because I'm in an open area, well, the sound is very clear in the background. The thing is, and it's kind of interesting to say, is that the Lexus RZ is a really good SUV, but it's not a really good EV, but it's not a bad EV at the same time. And all things considered, it's not that expensive, but it ain't cheap either. I can summarize my 5 and change days now with the RZ as being satisfactorily okay. I guess that's kind of like 2 synonyms, right? So I'm not saying much. With the one major issue, and that's range. And I'll tell you right now, the range is pretty damn horrible for a vehicle of this category, this class, this premiumness, and for the price. But that's the cost. That's the compromise, to get more power and to slap in way more equipment into the same package as the Solterra and BZ4X. Anyway, so that was the summary. So please hang in there, because we'll kind of do a walk around. I mean, this is still a weirdly attractive electric SUV, and then we'll take it with, well, for a far more spirited driving experience than I expected, but it doesn't last very long. Anyway, please hang in there. Yeah, so weirdly attractive. Now that I'm looking at it again, I see that it's kind of dusty. That's because yesterday the family and I took a little bit of time together, and we went for a hike and found a very dusty parking lot. So it might show up quite a bit. Actually, it's not that bad. Okay, so yeah, weirdly attractive, because you might recall that the BZ4X just looked really, really weird in almost every respect. And if you shop for a base signature BZ4X, it's still kind of the same thing, where Lexus, like Toyota, has managed to make the less expensive version look even less expensive to get you to sign on for, say, a luxury, or this, an executive model to purchase. The lines are a lot cleaner than on the BZ4X. There's still a heck of a lot hanging out over the front, but that's very Lexus. It kind of works. The spindle grille is like the latest iteration that I kind of saw in the TX. However, this one has, well, no grille per se, but the design is very clear, and it looks good, I have to say. And then the odd thing is, maybe you're seeing it, but it took me 2 days to figure it out. It's two-tone, this model, and that's an extra $1,200 and something, because as you can see, the upper portion is black and the bottom is gray. So the roof, that's the panoramic roof, is black. The hood is black. So yeah, it's okay. The biggest issue visually, I think, is that It looks awkwardly narrow, but that might just be my vision of what it is I'm seeing. Okay, in the US, base price for the premium, $59,650. The luxury is $65,150. Canada, the signature base model, $64,950. Just the middle trim is the luxury, $73,550. And then this, the executive, $80,950. It's a lot of money, but it's not that much. You'll see maybe what I'm trying to say. Look, there's the base model still has a digital latch, which is kind of cool. I showed it to you on the TX and the RX. It's got a 14-inch touchscreen display, which is really nice. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, heated steering wheel, new Lux leather 18-inch wheels. It's well equipped for $65,000. If you step up to the executive, you get ultra suede, which is the kick. It's wonderful. Cooled front seats, rear heated seats, heads-up display. There's a dimming panoramic roof on this thing, as I mentioned, and the 20-inch wheels. This is a final lap. The wheels look really, really good. I mean, I'm sick of gray, but then my Type R is gray, but you know, everything's gray. But the contrasting to the two colors is nice. And oh yeah, Direct 4 all-wheel drive is standard in both US and Canada. Okay, so let's get on in. So there are two different trunk sizes, as far as I can tell. There's a 966 and 980 something liters. So figure this is about 970 liters of trunk space, which is actually quite usable. It's actually really nice. The interior width is huge. I mean, you can definitely squeeze in at least two golf bags in here. There's a decent sized bin under here for your cable and other knickknacks and whatnot. Obviously power hatch is included in the model. Everything is LED, so it looks great. So this is the digital latch. It's nothing really special. It's just that it's a button and it pops. So this is the Ultra Suede. It's silly sexy. Can I say this? Can I say it? I just did. And impressively, there's a lot of room back here. You won't squeeze another person between the two baby seats. Yes, I know. I kind of half cringed too, but I figured I had to, right? I mean, it's the family vehicle for the week, so there's no choice. Room back here, definitely. USB controls and the heated seats. The only issue is that the roof line is actually a lot lower than you think, and it gets worse once you get to the front. As well, the final opening down here is really, really narrow, so getting in and out for the kids is very easy. But for adults such as myself, I mean, you know, I could have used an extra 6 degrees of opening. All right, so up front, yeah, it's just the suede is just simply fantastic. As always in Lexus products, fit, finish. The way all the surfaces are integrated, it just looks amazing. And more importantly, it's really, really nice to the touch. Everything is just great. There's a latch again, or you can pull if it breaks. But so far, that's been working. Okay, and it probably will. It's a Lexus. The seats, as comfortable as they look. Plenty of supports and multi-way power adjustable with lumbar. I mean, it's really, really nice. And maybe if you go into a Lexus showroom, you know, you'll get to touch it. It's as nice to touch as it is to look at. Little storage under here, which is kind of nice, and they even include a little piece of the Ultra Suede for you to maybe bring into the house and see if you want to reupholster your couch that way. All right, let's start her up. Okay, so there's your digital IP, which is nothing ultra special or anything like that. All the information shows up. There's a heads-up display included with the model. Your shifter, like the BZ, you got to push down, and then if you want to park, it's over here. Nothing special there either. Hold, brake, ESP. Storage is decent-ish. The door bins are okay. Visibility is actually quite awesome, I have to admit. Everything just falls beautifully into place. I like the layout of the dashboard, how it's kind of curved up top, you know, wrapped around the driver. And that essentially leads us to the 14-inch touchscreen display. Now, before I do that, okay, look, here, I'll help you out. See, there's the indicated range. I'm at like 99% of range. I'm shaking because it's a big zoom. So watch this. I'm going to turn the AC on. You saw it was 316, right? 250, what? I can't see it through the phone. 250. Yeah, those are the compromises you're going to come across with this vehicle. And then because it's warm, well, you know, you're supposed to sweat it out or sweat it out. Essentially the same thing, right? Okay, so a 14-inch touchscreen display. It's beautiful. You have a series of fixed, well, menu buttons here, which are quite nice, and you can toggle through all that. And here's some of your drive modes. You do have some nice shortcuts, which are configurable, your drive modes, and then whatever controls you use more often. I've been essentially in eco all week. The power is surprisingly good, so there's no need to, you know, normal sport. I didn't even touch custom, which is kind of odd for me, but eco has served its purpose. Your HVAC controls, at least the quick ones, if you want to go into a more, you know, diverse climate setup, everything is there. The layout, the fit, the finish, the materials, as all Lexuses, are very, very nice. And I think that concludes the tour, so now is the time to go for a drive. I will begin by saying that I think I forgot to tell you the total price, which is about $82,250 or something like that in Canada for this top-loaded model. Done. I will follow that with I came into the RZ expecting a BZ4X Plus, despite, you know, being aware of some of the specs. The good news is that this is far more than a BZ4X Plus. In fact, it feels like a completely different animal. The main reason for that is that the total system output is not a subpar, uninteresting 214 horsepower if we base ourselves on the XLE all-wheel drive BZ4X. No, it's all of 308 horsepower, which is, well, you know, it's like 50% more almost, and off the line, and even you know, passing maneuvers, it feels like a proper EV finally, which means that you know, you can kind of get excited, as I like to do in these vehicles. Come on, it's guilt-free power, man. The battery is a 71.4 kilowatt hour unit, which is the one you get in the front wheel drive vehicles and not the all-wheel drive, and that's the BZ4X, by the way. Main reason for that is that the 71.4, say smaller battery compared to the 72.8, I believe, is capable of 150 kilowatts of DC fast charging, compared to, I think, is 100 in the 72.8, which is, you know, not the type of splatter, but that's the negative type of splatter, if you will. So that means the thing moves despite weighing 4,600 pounds, and that's the other thing. That works out to a little over, or give or take, 200 pounds more than the XLE all-wheel drive BZ4X. So more powerful engines. In fact, the one in the front is 150 kilowatts versus the one in the rear is 80 kilowatts. It's almost twice as powerful in the RZ is what I'm trying to say, which serves to explain why this thing can do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a standstill in about 5.2 or 5.3 seconds. It's nowhere near being the quickest EV you can buy, but it is, as I like to say, spirited. That is one thing. The negative aspect to that is that, say, compared to the front-wheel drive BZ4X with this battery, it is entitled to, I think it's 406 kilometers of range, whereas this will give you up to 354 kilometers of range with all-wheel drive. That's in the base model. If you climb up to the executive, that number drops to a terribly disappointing, I think it's 307 kilometers, or 317 kilometers, 315 kilometers jogging, 315, that's the answer. And you saw what happens when I put the AC on. It's unacceptable. It's just, there's no, You don't pay $80,000 for 315 kilometers of range in 2023 and expect that to be okay. Reality is that it probably is. I mean, it's 0 to 80, nobody ever gets a 0, but 0 to 80 charge on a fast charger, you're looking at about 30 minutes. So that means that if you show up with 40 to get to 80, it probably takes 18, 19, 20 minutes. I don't know, something like that, which is normal-ish. But the problem is that the frequency at which you will need to plug in order to get your juice will be far greater than, say, a Genesis electrified GV70, for example. Well, greater, not far greater, just greater. Also, the GV70 electrified, just fire past this thing. And it's only about, well, compared to this one, it's about $2,000 more or less. And it looks better. Anyway, that's just a personal opinion, of course. The other upside, or another upside, is that ride quality, double wishbone, suspension front, obviously independent front, and that despite the 20-inch wheels is ultra Lexus-like. This is comfortable, serene, refined. I mean, you just want to keep going and going, but you'll have to stop and recharge often. It's superb. It's wonderful. I can only imagine with the 18s how nice the ride quality is. Braking is great. Steering is connected to something. I mean, things happen when see, oh, there it goes. Another disappointing thing, as with the BZ4X, is that the regen modes, there are 4, controlled by the paddles here, but there's no one pedal drive, which once again, I understand. Many people don't think that that's a selling point, but in my experience, when you experience it, it's very difficult to do without. I mean, even in the most aggressive regen mode, not much going on. And obviously you can take them all off and then you have some serious coasting abilities. Depends on your preference, I suppose. For me, I like one pedal driving. There's a hold button, but you still have to physically brake in order to come to a stop. I think I've said everything. This is a convincing Lexus EV without the good, convincing electric Lexus SUV that isn't quite electric or EV enough to set any bar or to convert or convince anyone that you need to go EV, mostly because 315 kilometers or 354 if you get, you know, the lower trims. But I mean, if you're buying an EV just because, you know, you want to get around and you want to replace your RX or your UX or your NX or whatever, this is going to absolutely fit the bill. I mean, you're going to feel completely at home in here, and you'll just never use a drop of petrol ever. I really like it, but today in 2023, you need to boast a little bit. And other than saying it's comfortable, like all other Lexus SUVs, it's not a great EV. It's not a very advanced EV, I guess is what I should be saying. That's it.